and I'm in a hotel.
I was about to say, where
I
are
know.
you?
I am in a hotel and I'm at a conference. So I didn't want to
Okay.
reschedule this. I didn't want to reschedule this again. Good evening, everybody. We are live. Our guest tonight, I'm so excited. You know how I'm like every single time, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. But reality is like tonight's guest, it's like family. Tonight's guest is really like family, and I'm just really, really excited to have Rama joining us. Um, I would like lie and be like, "Oh, everybody, we're gonna learn about Rama as we talk to her." But I happen to know Rama, and I'm just so, so proud of all of her journey. And I believe genuinely that there are prospective candidates out there exactly like Rama, and her story today and what she's going to share with us, I'm hoping inspires somebody to also go after it and to also not be afraid to also make that move and really identify your goals and your dreams and go after it. I'm not going to give it away because I think it sounds so much better coming right from her. Without further ado, we have Dr. Rama Koita. Welcome to
Hi,
the Blessing
everyone.
Prep Info Series.
Thank you. Thank you, Sally. Hi, everyone. My name is Ramatulai Koita, but I just go by Rama to make it easier. I also graduated the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, like Dr. Sally, just this past May, class of 2023. I'm in my first year of postdoctoral fellowship in the pharmacovigilance area. So I'm really thrilled to be here tonight and answer all questions and also share my journey because I believe it was a journey. And yeah, I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. So I think I think like one of the things we connected over immediately is that we are both West African women.
Yes,
Um,
Mendigo proud.
Many were proud women. So immediately I was like, "Oh, sister, this is my sister." So I was just really, really excited to connect with you and to also having you be part of the Hawk family is something that I absolutely love. But for everybody who is unfamiliar with what that journey looks like as a person who's from West Africa, can you please share a little bit with us about your beginning, your early time um, to where you are now?
Oh God, it felt like decades ago, but it was really just probably 7 years ago when all this happened. So my family moved to the United States beginning of 2016. I believe we got here this me and my sister got here December 2015, literally just going into the new year, and the rest of my family joined us. So when we first moved here, I didn't speak English. We didn't speak English because we come from a French-speaking country. So majority of my education was done in French. I had English as a secondary language and a little bit of Spanish, but it was not fluent. So we just learn like words and verbs and vocabulary, or like my name is, I'm this old year. So yeah, you get to America, chasing the American dreams. First, we were at the airport, like very intimidated. Everybody speaks so fast. I had no idea what they were telling me. I would get in public transportation and just be clueless. Like I'm like, whoa, this
Yeah.
is completely different from what I'm used to. But then from the beginning, I knew that I had to buckle up and get my education on track because that was one of my main goal. And I always thank God for like the parents that He gave me because they really, really, truly value education. So my mom doesn't joke with school. Like that's the one thing. Don't even joke about it. Don't even pull a little jokery of like, mm-mm.
Mhm.
It's not go well for you. And I'm also the oldest of six. So
Yes.
everybody kind of look up to me. Like I had a lot of siblings.
Mhm.
And I feel like I was I was their mentor. Like
Yeah.
they're superhero in the sense because they just look at the big sister and it was like, oh my God, you have so much pressure on your shoulder to have this done.
Yeah.
So I started buying books in English, watching movies in English with like subtitle. I completely kind of zone out of my French era. Like even my French friends, I feel like for sometimes we were not really in touch because I was trying to speak less French as possible and speak more English. And I'm
Mhm.
so glad that I did that for to myself because after a year or two, I would talk to people and they would not believe that I just moved to America. They were like, "Your
Yeah.
English is so good," and I'd
Yeah.
be like, "Oh well, thank you."
Thank you. I worked hard on it. I love that.
Yeah, but there was a lot of other things I had to work on with time that I would get into as more like to like the fellowship process. But that was one of my first goal, and
Yeah.
also making sure that I was taking the right classes. So when
Yeah.
I got here, I started looking at time. I'm not gonna lie, I was looking at my age. I want to build a family. I was looking at a school. I was like, well, 4 years of undergrad, 4 year of grad, that's 8 year. If you possibly want to do something else, that's another plus 2 year. I was like,
Yes.
dang, 10 year after high school, that's a
Mhm.
long time. So I
Time.
was looking at the short way. I will probably not advise that now that I'm a little grown, but you know, when you're younger, you just want to finish school. So yeah, I did my pre-request in 2 year on top of the English classes that I obviously had to take because I wasn't speaking English. So I wrapped all that up in like 2 year and a half. Applied to pharmacy school, and even when I was applying to pharmacy school, I was still looking at the shortest way possible to accomplish this. And I fell into UMES, which was a 3 year program. I was like, well, why other people want to do 4 year if it's doable in 3 year? Yeah, 3 year it is for me because I'm trying to be done. Like, Andrew, I just want to be done with school.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I went to UMES, and that's how the journey
Yeah.
started.
And I think that what you are describing with the resilience and the tenacity and the grit it takes to learn a second language when you have more than just good command of an initial language, like that initial language, French, for us and where we come from, that is the dominant language. That is where that's what's spoken at home. If you know, when you have
Yeah.
parents that are educated and education is important, they work on your language, they work on how you express yourself. So French was spoken a lot in my home because like your parents, education was everything. Like your mom, education is everything for my mom. So so much of what you're talking about is very similar to my journey. And I know every time we talk, we learn more about each other and the similarities that we share. But it's true, right? Like there is this whole journey that you have gone through before you present as Rama Koita, the fellowship candidate. There's a whole thing that you've already gone through. So I'm curious for you, how do you think having that background, like that hard work, that extra, all those extra things that you had to do to prepare yourself, how do you think that helped you prepare for how demanding the candidacy process of fellowship application was? How do you think that came into play for you?
Um, for thinking about that is like if you know me, like my personality, like even my friends from high school would say this, I'm the type of person I do not give up. I can doubt, but I'll always seek it. Like
Mhm.
I will have a lot of overthinking thought in my head. And the thing is, everybody who's around me is like, why is she doubting herself? Like, I don't
Yes.
know why I doubt myself, but the people around me sometimes are shocked. They're like, Rama,
Yeah.
are you really doubting this right now? Like,
Yeah.
even my friend in pharmacy school, it was a time when I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I can do this. It's
Mhm.
3 year, the process, the interview, it was draining, it was
Yeah.
hard. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It was really, really hard on my mental as I was
Yeah.
arriving towards the end. But I was like, if there's one thing I'm gonna do is not give up.
Yep.
I'm gonna go. The worst answer I would get is a no. And I got a lot of no's.
Yeah.
Like I definitely received a lot of no's, but I'm so glad I received those no's because those notes made me stronger. And
Yes.
as for like linking it to my background, it's like when you don't have no other choice but to stay strong,
Yeah.
you will be strong.
You'll be
You
shocked.
There's no other
I
option
love
for
that.
me but stay
I love
strong.
stay strong.
I mean, what am I gonna do now? Chase my dream after all this hard work, like learning English, seeking mentorship, going
Yeah.
to conferences, spending
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of dollars in education, and then I
Yeah.
would just get at the door and not cross it because of fear.
Yeah.
And I think you, one of the person I remember very well, would just be like, Rama, you need to stop it right now. You need
Need you to quit this. I need you to quit this talk now. Like,
Because when I was talking myself into fear, you were like, I'm not having it. I'm not having it.
you
You just have to do it.
have to do
And
it.
I just realized that I just have to do it. And when I started it, there was no turn back at that point. I
Yeah.
already threw myself into that journey,
Yeah.
and it started rolling and rolling and rolling. And like I say, I received a lot of no's.
Yeah.
I didn't get my fellowship offer until a week from graduation. Just to tell you how I kept going. Like that mean
Yeah.
I didn't stop seeking. Like
Yes.
even after all the school affiliated offer was gone, I still kept reaching out to people I know, to my contact. At that point, my mindset was like direct entry, standalone, like any type of opportunity I could get to take myself out the door.
Yeah.
And it happened.
And it happened. And I couldn't tell, like, I was so happy when you shared the news that you secure a position because I knew that you were still out there and I knew that you were still grinding and still at it. And I would always just be like, don't give up, don't give up. But I
Yeah.
already knew how committed you were. But talk to us a little bit about what you are describing right now, because for a lot of prospective candidates, they
Mm,
only know about the fall, they only know about what's going to happen between now and January. Many people are in the dark that this is a
mm,
longitudinal journey that can go on after that. So to the best of your ability, can you
mhm.
describe to the prospective candidate that's applying right now what your journey was like, and how did you get beyond January?
Definitely. So to start with that, I would kind of take you to like my third year, my last year where APIs happened for us. I was trying as much as I can to have industry rotation, because I'm not gonna lie, that speaks volume to at least see that you had a sort of experience or a sort of interest into the topic. Sometimes it's hard to get those, but
Absolutely.
that's definitely a tool that you could always use to your advantage. As much experience as you can, as much topic on the industry as you can talk about, as much conferences that you participated or listened to speaker that you could, build relationship with. So
Mhm.
during my third year, I was really, really fortunate enough to land two industry rotation and within the pharmacovigilance, which mean in the area that I'm in now, because that was definitely my top one choice.
Yeah.
But the problem with pharmacovigilance is they don't really have much offer. Pharmacovigilance is a very, very hard place to get when it comes to fellowship. Some company would offer 1 year and not offer the other year. Some company would do it maybe every 2 year. It's out there, but it's just very minimal compared to the amount of medical affair or regulatory affair or clinical operation or clinical research. Like those, you will have that almost every year. But PV is a very hard area, and that's one thing that I knew.
Mm-hmm.
I knew, which also was bringing fear because I was like,
Yeah.
"Woof, you taking the big dog."
Yeah.
So when I had those two rotation, I was really frustrated that my last rotation that I had, it was in global safety, but it was in Eli Lilly, and it was my last API, which means my ninth block. And
Mm.
in my head, I was like, oh my God, like how would I talk about an experience that I wouldn't even have during the process? Like I
Yeah.
can't put that in my CV because it's not something that I've done. It's something that is coming, but it's not something that
Yeah.
I've done. But then
Yeah.
the first rotation that I had in PV, I was doing that rotation while I was interviewing during this fall period.
Mm.
I believe I was there for, if it's not September, October, November. It either
Wow.
my
Yeah.
third or fourth block. I can't recall really well. But that one, I put that on my CV, but I was updating as I was going into interview because I was
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
doing that work while I was in there. So learning the tools. So when that had happened, I was really frustrated that my two rotation didn't happen the way I wanted to happen. But
Mm.
God always have a plan that you don't
I was
know.
about to tell you, but God, but for God.
Yes. And as I was seeking, I was applying for like those roles. I was applying as I was going. I went to PPS at Meteor.
Yeah.
And I think the moment when I realized that I could do it, when I was a final candidate for two other programs. And
Yeah.
that's the moment that I was like, everything is possible for me.
I got what it takes.
Like if I did the first interview, the second interview, the third interview, the fourth interview, and then I'm like part of the final vote,
Yeah.
it means something. Like it means that you have it in you. So I
Yeah.
think that was the moment in my heart where I was like, regardless of what is gonna happen, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I ended up not having those offers. Those offers went to amazing people that one of them I'm actually working with her right now. We're in the same company but just different area.
Oh, imagine that.
And another one, I'm pretty sure he's doing amazing, an amazing soul. Like it brought people in my life that I wasn't expecting. We were competitors, but
Yeah.
then now we are co-fellows.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
Yes, definitely. So that when that journey had happened and then all this offer went out, so I was like, well, I'm kind of left with two choices because as I was asking people, they always told me, don't sweat it, Rama. Like there's always opportunities, even after a lot of standalone, they would tell me a lot of standalone, like the one I'm doing right now. So strictly with the company with no school or anything.
Yeah.
Those offer usually comes in starting January until like
Yeah.
graduation or even post graduation.
Absolutely.
So people would tell me that I would talk to with the industry. They were like, we have like R&Ds or like early development talents that
Mm.
some company has. If you want to go on their website, they always have something about it. Like you could
Yeah.
just type the company and type the early development talent or talent acquisition, see who
Yeah.
is in charge of it, ask them where do they portal open.
Yeah.
Stay on the lookout because those are some of the opportunity that you probably not be posted on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Is very internal. It's either on
Yeah.
their website or like someone who works there will like, hey, did this popped out? You go apply. And that's literally what happened for
And-
me.
Yeah.
As I was finishing my ninth block,
Oh,
literally the
beautiful.
last day of my ninth block, and I had RX prep that day, so you know how that feel like. I
That's
received a call. And the person told me that, my company is seeking for a pharmacovigilance fellow and this is the application. Are you willing to apply? And I was like, yes. I was like, yes. And I was still applying to standalone job. I was still applying to
yeah.
standalone. I would go on career. I would put my resume, my CV. I would apply. I would get email of rejection that you were not choosing for the. I was like, well, I would still go and apply. I think every day almost I was sitting,
Yeah.
refreshing, writing down job IDs numbers in my little notebook just to cross it. Be like, okay, well, this one is canceled. This and with like the area I want, with the cities that I probably want to live in.
Yeah.
So when this opportunity came, I applied and they scheduled my first interview right the next day. I had no time for preparation. So you have to stay ready, like
Stay
stay
ready.
keep updating your CV as you go. I'm
Yeah.
from a 3-year program, so that pressure and that intensity is something I already have in me. It's like
Yes,
we know we have no
ma'am.
time.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
UMES made us. UMES made us.
yeah. So when I got that call, I did my first round. Um, and I was waiting for them to get back to me. And I think the following week or so, they got back to me and they were like, yeah, we are 3 autonomous. You moved to the second round. And as all that, I'm still going through like the school trying to graduate.
Yeah.
We went back on campus, I believe, for that last week when I had my final interview. Yeah, I had probably had my final interview like a week or two before graduating. And I kept all this so secret because I was
Oh,
tired of telling everybody around me, yes, I'm applying to this. Yeah, I didn't get it because everybody was so worried about me. Everybody kept asking me. And I know it was coming from the goodness of their heart, but then the fact that I would always be like, yes, I didn't get the offer. They feel down for me, especially my
yeah.
family. They're my biggest cheerleader, and they knew how much I really, 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 really wanted this. So I kept everything just inside. I
Yeah.
didn't share. I went through the whole thing, and I was waiting for an answer. I believe it was a Thursday. I was just home, and I got a phone call, and they were like, "Well, we want to offer you the position." I think I just seated there for like a good 5 seconds with no sound, like no
Gosh.
voice. They had to
Oh,
be like, "Hello, Miss, are you
oh,
here?" I
that's
was like, "Yes."
beautiful.
Like, would you accept? I was like, yes. And even till then, Dr. Chori, I was still so scared to share until I got the email because that was the
Oh,
I said anything can
oh, Rama.
I
God,
just
Rama.
I just didn't say anything. I think I only shared with my two best friends of pharmacy school the phone
Yeah.
call, but I told them it was an official yet, so they can't share with nobody.
Making them like, this is our secret and our secret alone. It's not
Yes.
common knowledge
Yeah.
yet.
And I think it was
I
the day of
love.
graduation that I told my parents, like the day of the hooding that I told my parents that I was
Oh,
having a postgraduate. And it was really emotional because everybody just started crying. And I was like,
I'm
why are you guys
sure.
crying? Making me
I'm
cry too.
sure. Ah, I
Yeah.
and I share your story with a lot of other prospective candidates. I identify with it, but also because I know like your story, it's this ongoing story of resilience and grit, and a lot of tenacity. And a lot of people really enter this, they don't understand the emotional toll. Everybody focuses on the technical requirement, the application, the CV, the letter of intent. Everyone focuses on making sure like
Yeah.
those technical components are together, but they don't give the fact that emotionally this is going to be really really trying. And it's why I like talking about that component of it, to say I need you to take care of all of you because this is
Yeah.
going to test all of you. I
Yes.
wanted us to touch on something because, I tell people don't fall into the scarcity mentality. Yes, there's only a few programs of pharmacovigilance, but if that's what you want, go for it. I want us to
Yeah.
identify the penthouse of what your
Yes.
goal is. Let's go for the penthouse. Don't go pick the building and let's sit in the lobby. Let's go to the penthouse of your goal. What is pharmacovigilance for the person who's watching this and they know about med affairs, reg affairs, marketing, R&D, and all these other functional areas that are popular, as you mentioned?
Yes.
What is PV as a functional area or pharmacovigilance as a functional area?
Um, PV is something that touched me personally because I've lost really dearest people to my heart due to medication safety or side effect, and that's one of the reason why I even kept going for like pharmacy. And I also found myself like within pharmacy that I was always interested about adverse effect. I don't know why, but that's the one thing I would remember about a drug. It will be
Yeah.
its adverse effect. I might not remember that this is spironolactone 200 milligram that I need to use, but I would definitely know that it will have some gynecomastia some
Yeah,
afterward.
that's funny.
And it's a funny way, but that's literally how I used to retain drugs. You know,
Drugs.
everybody have their little things, but I would see
Absolutely.
the side effect and I'll be like, it gotta be this drug. I have no doubt
Yeah,
that this drug is the one that caused it.
causes
So
that.
finding myself being that person and always being triggered by that, and I did my research within the industry, and it takes a lot of different steps, and I'm pretty sure a lot of candidates already know, like, the leadership component that you need to have in your CV.
Yeah.
You need to show that you're interested. IPHO was one of my great resources. That was literally one of the organization I was the most active on. Like I'm talking
Wow.
about those conferences, but that's
Yeah.
literally on the IPHO pages that I will find
Yes.
those content, whether it's virtual or in
Yeah.
person. I try my best to attend and
Yeah.
make connection.
Yeah.
Connection is really, really, really important. And when you make connection, make sure they're genuine connection, like people that truly care about you, that
Yeah.
see you and that hear you.
Yeah.
Um, so make sure that's something you go after.
You
So when
look
it
for.
comes to PV has to do with safety. I would just put it simple. Pharmacovigilance is basically the study of safety of the drug. So in the industry component, we are the one who look at the side effect, the adverse reporting. So PV kind of it's a broad word, it's an umbrella,
Absolutely.
but then when it comes in and you see there's so much into it. We have
Hmm.
the case processor, we have the aggregate report team, and we have the signal detection team. And
Yes.
all these three big team kind of work together to form
Yes.
PV. And in
Yes.
PV, you'll most likely find like medical like doctors, so they call
Yeah.
like physicians, like pharmacovigilance physician. We have
Mhm.
local safety officers. You have also some public health degree just to talk about that. Even the MBA could fall themselves into PV, looking at the operational and the business aspect.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's literally the big umbrella of PV. We look at case report on the FDA. We have like guidelines that we have to follow to make sure that the products follow all the regulation that falls
Yeah.
into. So we work also with regulatory when it comes to that. We have specific due date and specific amount of time that we need to report certain things.
Yeah.
We have audits that happen where like a health authority could always come in and be like, yeah, we need to show this case, we need to see what the company is doing about it. If a recall happened, why is the recall happening, is it because of a safety perspective, like all those things fall
Wow.
into.
Yeah.
And
It's a
I
big
was,
world.
yes, it's really, really, really a big word. Like even when I got into, I was like, whoa, I had no idea
Wow.
this how
Yeah.
much things that PV entail, because when you're outside, you only hear PV.
PV. Yeah. That's what I mean. As an outsider, that's what I hear. And I'm thinking it's this one functional area. And what you're describing, there's like a bunch of different other worlds that exist
Yeah,
under that umbrella.
yeah.
About your fellowship in particular, when are applications opening? Are you able to share anything with people about the program in case they are going to be interested in being your predecessor?
Definitely. The thing is that I am the baby of this program. So I am
Oh,
the first fellow.
are you
They
really?
Yes, they're
Wow.
having this standalone fellowship with that's not school affiliated. The company used to do it with some school like years
Gosh.
before, but
Yeah.
then I am like the baby, so I am very new into this. There's like
Gotcha.
old fellows that were here, but like literally have higher positions now
Gotcha.
that I work with and intent. So definitely when my application opened last year, it was around February, March, but don't quote me, but like I said, because it's the
Yeah,
first
no,
time
I
that
think
is
it's
happening.
completely fair. It's completely
Yes,
fair. And I think what we can do is, if it's okay with you, to let people know that they should add you on their connections to keep
yes,
in touch with you so that when that information becomes available, you
yes,
can circle back with them and let them know here's what
definitely.
our plans are. I
Yeah,
think that that's totally fair. So, and we are going to go over all of the different ways they can find you in just a bit. I always
definitely.
love to ask everybody this question because we are all like in this profession, but the road that everyone took to get there is really, really different.
Mm.
So I always ask everyone, what has been your lesson from your journey that you want to give other people, you want to share with the people that it's the end of October. Like they are in it. Like we
Oh
for
yeah, yeah.
fellowship applications, they are in it right now. What is your wisdom for them on how they can approach this and stay motivated through this incredibly trying process?
Definitely. I know that's something hard to do, but the first thing I want to tell them is to breathe.
Yeah.
And I know it probably will sound weird coming from an anxiety freak like me, but I really want to tell them to breathe. I know when somebody had told me to breathe last year, I'll probably be like, what are they talking about? But really breathe.
Rama, but it just means you're an expert on the subject matter. So you advising people to really stop and take a breath,
Yeah,
it comes from a very credible source because you've
yeah.
admitted how stressed out you were. I don't
Please
think you
breathe.
should underestimate. Don't underestimate that advice.
Please breathe. If this is really, really, really what your heart is going towards, because I'm not talking about like you're just choosing to do this because you just feel like it. It depends. It has to be from within your heart. If it's really within your heart, that's where you want to go. You will end up there. The
Yes,
road might be different, the
yes,
approach might be different, the step might be
yes,
different, but please take care of yourself and breathe. And let me tell you, no is literally the best answer someone could ever tell you. It's
yes,
really weird to say that, but then sometimes when I received a no, and then I started thinking about it afterward. Like, but
yes,
then you say that when things work out, but even when things didn't work out for me, like even when I didn't know that this would have happened for me, because mind you, it was a really gap of time between December and March. So I
yes,
had January and February with no idea that this was going to happen for me, but I was
yeah,
still doing really fine mentally. The
yeah,
reason behind it is because I learned that I did my best. I gave
yeah,
everything I had to give. There was
yes,
nothing left in me, literally.
yeah,
Like I laid it out on the table.
yeah,
And it was not because I was not good enough or I was, there was somebody better than me. It's really not. There is thousands of people that applied for one spot.
yes,
So sometimes it's really a matter of like it comes to the slightest detail. Maybe
yeah,
the presentation they were better prepared than I was. It happened. They might be a
exactly.
better speaker than I am. You can excel everywhere,
Yeah,
So just breathe, take time for yourself in the process and keep going. Don't
yeah,
ever stop, even after a no. If you still see the opportunity, go after. Like I say, I've received a no before, but then I got a yes. So there is no's. And if you had sometimes I had such a great interview,
I know.
like they told me no, but then we are like literally the best of friends on LinkedIn right now. Cause I
Yeah,
would ask them, why didn't I do right during my interview? Like I was sick feedback from them. I had the first person who told me you speak really fast. And that's a fact because I speak multiple. So when I'm trying to get my answer out and it's lined up in my head, it's
yeah,
gonna come like and it's
yeah,
true. So that helped me a lot after time
yeah,
because when I was having my other interviews, I would take time to breathe and I'd be
yeah,
like, maybe you're speaking fast, take your time. And I would take my
yeah.
time. I
I
had
love
someone
that.
who told me that and I'm so grateful because I had like a circle nose ring. They were like
Yeah,
sometimes people are very conservative more than they think they are. Like they would see you,
yeah,
nothing wrong with your appearance, but they could be very conservative. So maybe you want to put something that's like slightly less visual when you have like group
wow,
interviews. And those are little tips that you don't take personal.
yeah,
You take that to add value into you because somebody will be conservative, but they don't know they're really conservative.
yeah,
But when they see a tattoo, they're like, you know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
African parents, if they see a tattoo, they will be like, ooh,
we
tattoo.
could have we could have a whole hour conversation about nonverbals and the things that you right like the how you present and how that triggers certain things in people they didn't even know they had. I have so many different conversations about that, like as a
Yes,
woman who wears a hijab, right?
yes,
When your Zoom comes on and they see the hijab, if they've never seen a picture of you before, that could register and translate for some people into something and they didn't even expect it to do that for them, but
definitely.
it's a reality. And
And you have to be
until
very situational aware of you and yourself and like how you
yourself,
talk and how you
uh
present.
yes,
Yeah, so
150% 100%. Like, if you are watching this, whether you're watching this live or on playback, what Rama is talking about is, and I know like when I talk to like candidates, they think I'm being like overly nitpicky. I make us go through exactly how you are going to look on the interview. What
Mm,
earring, what scarf, what shirt, what tie, if it's a bow tie, what color is it?
mm,
Every little thing matters, like how you show up on people's screens, your verbals, your non-verbals. Like I talk with my hands,
yeah.
so I have to do this and put my hands in front of me so that I am aware of where my hands are, because I was told that my hand gestures can be a side bit distractive when
Yes.
I am talking, right? But if you don't open yourself up and seek that feedback, there is something tiny, something adjustable, something
Just a detail.
modifiable. This is like a tiny little thing that could really make a difference in how you're going through the process. You will never know. So,
Yep.
because people have said no, it doesn't mean you cut them off. If they have said no, it needs to translate in your mind like information resource. Let me
Yes.
get to that. What
Yes.
was it? What
And
do
I'm
I need?
telling you, a lot of time they respect you so much more when
So
you
much
go and ask
more.
for feedback. They'll be like, wow, this is really someone who is willing to learn. This is really someone who wants to get, like, even right now with my manager, I have weekly one-on-one with her every 2 weeks, and I'm always asking. I mean, it hurts your feelings sometimes. I mean, it's true. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it hurts your feelings.
Yeah,
Like when people tell you the brutal, honest truth, but then you also have to weigh it. Is that really true or is not true? And if you, in your inner thought, is something that you probably thought about or even doubted about, then maybe might be some truth in it. And
yeah,
use it to your advantage because the only
yes.
person that's going to benefit is you.
You who, for the most part, people who are not interested in your advancement and your success, they are not going to give you feedback.
No,
That,
they will not.
and if you approach feedback with that mentality, your relationship with feedback is going to change.
Yeah.
People who have zero interest in whether or not you accomplish your goal and you go far in life are not going to take the time to walk you through what their observations are about your performance and your nonverbals and all these different things. They're not going to. It takes time to give somebody feedback appropriately to make sure you're not hurting their feelings. It takes time and energy. And
Yeah.
people who don't care, they're not going to take that time and energy to help you correct it. So to
Mm-mm.
me, like how I try to tell people is, if you keep that in mind, anyone who engages with you to help and redirect you, you're going to take a step back and emotionally disconnect and stay objective. Um,
Yes.
and so what you're talking about here, it transcends what we are speaking about here, because this is life lesson. This is just
Mm.
professional lifelong situation with how you want to posture yourself so that other people see you as a person who wants to know, who wants
Yeah.
to receive information.
Yes.
I I, I would like to tell you this is the last time we're going to talk, but it's not,
Yeah.
because we are going to be in touch. You just
Definitely.
got married. I am so happy for
Oh,
you.
thank you.
I
Yes.
mean, life is
Like I say, a
unlocking.
lot of things was a lot of things was
Yeah,
happening. A lot of things,
yeah.
like whether it's my personal life, my
Professional.
professional life. It was really a lot of things were happening.
I just, things are unlocking in such beautiful ways for you. And I'm so happy
Amen.
to see you in this space. And, I'm always nearby watching, and I'm always nearby to help, always, per
Yeah.
usual. You know that. I don't need to reaffirm that with you. But I want to thank you for taking the time to do this today,
Yeah, definitely.
because I know that there are, like, you and I are not the only two people that had to learn English from scratch before even embarking to
Oh yeah.
compete at such a level in life. We're not. There's so many people out there. And I think that isolation that you feel when you're going through things, it helps to know that other people have done this. I can do it. There's nothing special about the people who've done it. They just worked hard. I can work hard too and get it done.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you for taking your time to chat
Thank
with us
you.
always. And I I love you. I mean, you know that. I know that
Love
everybody
you
who's
too, Dr. Chari.
they're gonna love you too because you're so genuine and so like open and authentic. I respect you and love you
Yeah,
so much.
and also stay true to yourself.
Stay
Stay
true to
true to
yourself.
yourself. Don't put up a personality that is not yours. You would not keep on. You would not keep on. If you
So
laugh, laugh. If you feel
yeah,
like cracking a joke, crack a joke. Just
yeah.
read the room. Read the
Read the
room
room.
and be you.
Oh
Read
my
the room
goodness.
and be you.
I'm telling you. And as per usual, we are live now on LinkedIn as well as YouTube. So for anyone who wants to watch this and rewatch this, it will be available to you and it's on the YouTube channel at no cost at all. And thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking your evening to join us. We are so happy that you could. And Rama, again, thank you so much. And keep sharing your progress with us. Keep sharing all the
Definitely.
amazing things you're doing. We want to see it. And with that, good night, everybody. Thank you for
Good
being
night.
here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Bye. Take care.
You too, Rama.